Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Kinlami. Tonight, police announced the arrest of 7 suspects over Thursday's robbery of 5 banks in Offa as Kwara State government promises reward for information on the gunmen. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole continue their onslaught against Boko Haram insurgents, kill 5 members of the group in Adamawa State. The FCC turns its searchlight on ministries, departments and agencies as the acting chairman says fraud carried out by government officials is affecting the nation's development. And at least 2 people killed and several others injured as delivery van rams into a crowd outside a restaurant in Western Germany.
On business news tonight, analysts see silver lining for Islamic bonds in Nigeria ahead of federal government sovereign sukuk listings next week.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's representative in the CAF Confederation Cup, Plateau United, edges past the USM Algiers in the first leg of final qualifying round, winning 2-1 at the Agege Stadium.
We begin tonight with an update on the bank robbery in Kwara State, where no fewer than 30 people were killed on Thursday by gunmen. Now, the police command has announced the arrest of 7 people believed to be connected to the robbery in the Owode market area of Offa. The Kwara State Commissioner of Police, Lawan Ado, says one of the suspects was arrested at a neighboring town where the robbers were said to have abandoned 7 vehicles and ran into the bush. The others were caught within the same area. Meanwhile, the Kwara State government has offered a huge reward for information on the bandits.
5 banks were targeted by the Offa armed robbers. Unhindered in their operations, the robbers killed policemen and civilians and carted away millions of naira from vaults blown wide open. The State Police Command says it has made an early breakthrough in its investigations with the arrest of 7 suspects believed to be connected to the crime. They were picked up in Igosu, a neighboring community to Offa, as gang members fled into a bush, abandoning up to 7 cars.
7 suspects have been arrested so far to assist in the investigation. 1 suspect was arrested at Igosu, where the hoodlums abandoned 7 vehicles and ran into the bush.
For those still at large, the state government is offering 5 million naira for information on the fleeing robbers and their accomplices.
He has also strongly advised the security agencies in the state, led by the State Police Command, to aggressively begin a manhunt for those people suspected of involvement in this act, and that every resource and support that the security agencies require towards this apprehension and successful prosecution will be provided by the Kwara State government.
Many survivors of this gruesome attack are still receiving medical care. Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed pays them a visit, promising to pick their bills.
The government will be taking care of all their hospital bills, make sure that they have full medical treatment that will take them to recovery, inshallah. And also we'll use the opportunity to let our people know that we must begin to watch each other's back.
It's an incident indigents will remember for weeks and even months to come as they look to the police to bring the perpetrators to book and get justice for the victims.
Still in Kwara State, some residents of Ilorin, the state capital, are also counting their losses following the devastation caused by Tuesday's heavy rainstorm. Many of the residents are now homeless as a result of the heavy downpour, which destroyed some public infrastructure.
Rain is God's blessing to mankind, but sometimes it comes with pain, such that lingers for a long time. Residents of Agaka, Adeta and Taiwo Road, all in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, may have to live with the reality of what is left of the devastation from the recent rains in the area. This woman has been rendered homeless since the rains pulled down her 6-room apartment. The timely intervention of her neighbors saved her from being trapped in the debris when the building caved in. Others have a similar story to tell.
So when the rain started, so I was sitting around this area. Immediately the rain is about to stop by that time. When I came home, I made the house was blown off with the rainstorm. Okay, but as we are now, we don't have anybody to help us.
Some of the victims describe the heavy rainstorm as a hurricane owing to the level of damage done. Trees uprooted, electricity poles and street lights broken, roofs blown off, billboards and road signs all ripped off by the raging storm.
I've never witnessed it all of my life, so I can't say if it is an hurricane or if it is a wind. But to be frank, it destroyed a lot of properties. So we don't know how far, we just don't know how to go by it. You can see the whole building. This is not the only affected building in the area. Actually, all the house on the street is affected.
The Ilorin Stadium is not spared. The digital scoreboard is damaged. The main bowl and the indoor sporting complex will also require immediate repairs if any activity has to take place here.
The wind suddenly took turn, coming down very heavily within the stadium complex. The first thing we just realized was that the whole fence around the Sultan Road came down. The first part came down, then later the second part came down. Then after that, the transparent grasses within the indoor came down, but we are very, very lucky that it was not during any game session.
It may take a while before the residents whose properties were damaged recover from the shock, but government authorities are already giving them the assurance that they may get some form of help.
It's important, the scoreboard is very important to any football match. And I'm sure that when the whole report is presented to His Excellency, a phased approach to fixing the problem based on available finances will be adopted. And the expectation is that, all things being equal, both the stadium and the residences are affected across the whole of because, you know, the whole of Sway, a good part of the city was affected.
Although these residents are looking up to the government for a solution, there is also a need for caution on their part, especially the need to use qualitative building materials and for government to ensure that structures pass integrity tests to safeguard lives and property.
Nigerian army authorities say troops of Operation Lafia Dole have killed 5 suspected Boko Haram terrorists in Bakin Dutse area of Adamawa State. In a statement, the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Texas Chukwu, explains that the encounter followed a distress call from hunters in the area. On sighting the troops, the terrorists engaged them in an exchange of gunfire, resulting in the death of 5 Boko Haram terrorists, while a hunter lost his life during the encounter. The troops recovered weapons, including 5 AK-47 rifles and 5 magazines. In a related development, troops of the 33 Artillery Brigade have arrested one Seidu Hamidu Jenga along Medjugorje bypass in Bauchi in connection with Boko Haram-related activities. The suspect was allegedly overheard discussing about movement of arms and ammunition on phone. Another suspect, identified as Umar Ali from Biu local government area of Borno State, has also been picked up for the same reason. Meanwhile, efforts to reduce crime through the mopping up of illegal weapons and small arms across the country appears to be yielding results. This operation is in line with a directive from the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to stop the spread of crime and ensure peace in the country. A few weeks after, the various state commands are already giving account of their stewardship.
In Enugu State, southeast Nigeria, the arms mop-up is progressing well with the recovery of these weapons.
The total arms recovered is 148. Well, the total number of ammunition recovered 155 of different calibers.
Some of these arms were voluntarily brought in, while most were seized through stop-and-search exercises. In neighboring Anambra, the State Police Command headquarters is the venue for yet another display of recovered weapons. And to be sure everyone is on the same page, the State Commissioner takes some time to explain what prohibited arms are.
Prohibited firearms are those arms that cannot be licensed and cannot be also in the hand of any person.
These assorted and locally made firearms were retrieved from individuals and groups across the state. But the Commissioner is convinced more needs to be done.
We are soliciting for the members of the public to come and give us information where such firearms are with individuals or group of individuals.
In Cross River, south Nigeria, arms of different shapes and sizes are laid out for all to see, a result of yet another mop-up exercise. And in a move to curb the proliferation of these illegal weapons, the State Commissioner employs a rather innovative strategy.
Whistleblowers are enjoined to expose anyone known to be unlawfully in possession of such firearms. Financial reward awaits any genuine information given.
These arms only become dangerous in the hands of criminals, and the State Command is moving to cover this angle with the arrest of some suspects. The lineup is a bit different in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. Items like clubs, daggers, and other contraptions are on display. Armed forces uniforms and accessories also make the cut, all a result of the disarmament exercise.
May I also use this medium to call on the general public, especially those who possess any of the prohibited and unauthorized firearms, to come forward and surrender them while the grace period is still open. Those who deliberately refuse to do so after the period elapses will be made to face the wrath of the law.
And with this effort by the police, Nigeria may be making progress in reducing the proliferation of small arms and ammunitions.
A former governor of Abia State, Orji Kalu, has described former President Olusegun Obasanjo's criticism of the present administration as unnecessary. The former governor, who spoke to journalists during a visit to Ile-Ife, Osun State, says the former president and other critics of the Buhari government are not being fair in their assessment. He said President Muhammadu Buhari deserves the support of Nigerians because the country is a tough one to run.
Country is a very difficult place to hold together, and he has held the country together because, you see, people opened the central bank, they looted the central bank. You don't even know what has gone wrong, and we are refusing to talk about it. And the whole place were looted. And I think, I'm not saying that Buhari is the best messiah. Every man has his own patch, he has his own fault, but he's not a thief. That you can know. Buhari has no house in Abuja, he has no house anywhere. I know him for over 30 years. I get you back to the attack by President Obasanjo, which is why I came to the tour of this region, to reassure this region that President Buhari is an honest man, he's more committed to Nigerian politics than President Obasanjo. So I believe that we have a long way to go.
In part two, after the break, we examine some legal perspective in the debate on President Buhari's approval of $1 billion for the armed forces. Please stay with us.